right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Pet Sematary.
What is up?
Pet Sematary, a classic horror movie from Mr. Stephen King. And I don't think until just now, and I'm an old man now, until just now, I realized that it's spelled with an S in this movie.
Is in like the title?
In the title, yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think my mind has always just automatically swapped it.
So
but it's spelled like the child spells it on the sign.
I was going to say, like, I knew that in the movie, on the sign, it's spelled with an S. And
on the actual box.
In the box it has an S?
Pet Sematary with an S.
Wow.
And that's such a weird, brave choice.
That's a Mandela thing.
Well, because think about that.
I can see the box with a C.
Can you?
I can. The universe
just picture selling that, though. Like, how many people, before you know what it is, you're like, I spelled cemetery wrong. 40%
of people just didn't even, they're like, yep, that's cemetery.
I wonder.
How often do you see that word?
Well, not often, but how often do you see many words?
Exactly. They could be spelling stuff all kinds of ways.
So that was my mind blown moment for like this when I looked at the DVD and I was like, wait a minute, holy shit! I didn't realize that they spelled it wrong on the thing. So that was cool. But this movie's like a classic.
Yeah. So like going into it, my memories were sometimes dead is better. And this one's not true. Clancy Brown drilling into some kid's head. That's Pet Sematary 2.
Okay.
Which I now know. And then Denise Crosby comes back from the dead. That was my overall memories of what is Pet Sematary, and then various weird pets dead or whatever.
I didn't remember it was a cat. I was picturing the dog from The Gate when I thought about the cemetery.
You could swap that memory in,
and it worked,
100%.
More or less. So, but other than that, I was like, all right. I remember the kid from who was the mean kid in Full House. I think his name was Aaron on that show. Is the youngest boy who dies.
The guy who has all the fun.
He's such a creepy faced child.
I forgot the kid entirely, so there was a whole experience for me.
Oh, you thought it was just animals?
I didn't think anything. I thought people bury people and stuff comes back or whatever. I forgot the whole sequence with the kid, the whole thing. It was a joy.
There's a wonderful sequence when he flies from the attic at and you're like, what the hell kind of unnatural movement is this?
Yep, he's Superman's. I wrote down in my notes. He's Superman's down on him.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's like a memory that will be with me now forever, and I really enjoyed that part. But
it was not forever last time though. But yes.
So the brief description of the movie is a man moves to a new town with his family. He has a daughter and a son and a cat and a wife, and he's going to be the doctor at the new college. On his first day there, he has a boy is killed.
Head bashed in guy.
Exactly.
Joggerman.
He gets a weird cryptic message from this boy just as he died. His daughter's cat dies. The neighbor tells him oh, you could bury follow me, and he buries it on this Indian burial ground. He's like, your daughter's not quite ready for the loss yet. And the old man goes back and forth on what the fuck is up with this dude. But, it works. The cat comes back from the dead. It's not exactly the same, but it is back. Flash forward a little bit. They're all fun games, having a good time, flying a kite. The little boy, who they never seem to watch enough, he's always by the road, gets hit by a truck. It's fucking tragic. And you feel it, though. It's done very well. The boy dies. He takes that same boy, where he digs him up, takes him, buries him in that Indian cemetery.
Grave robs his own son's grave.
And he comes back. He comes back so wrong.
Yes.
And with scalpel in hand, he starts just murking fools. And it's such a refreshing movie just because of how it goes. Things aren't as you expect.
And so he has to kill his cat. He has to kill his kid. His wife dies. So he tries again and tries to bring her back, and it seems like that doesn't really work out for him.
Yes.
The neighbor dies. Lots of people die. I think by the end, everyone is technically dead, whether they're animated or not. It's quite a journey.
That's
revolving around this pet cemetery.
The general plot here. But don't you I think it subverts your expectations so dramatically as a movie, and it's one of the few. And I won't say that it ends very well. I wasn't great ending, but it's certainly better than almost any Stephen King movies.
Okay, I was going to say,
because they usually end so anticlimactically and just
stuff,
on the downswing.
Right, and stuff goes so crazy in Stephen King things. I haven't seen them all, but a lot of these TV ones where it's like, no, we can only 4 hours is the minimum to pack it all in, and then by the end it's like, but he was an alien too, and all this stuff, and the portal's closing, and all these things are happening, and like this has such a much nicer ending. Where,
his average is 98% exposition. Sum it up quick in the last 2%.
Oh God, the demons are back.
But this one, I thought it, it had a ride that went pretty steady across the board here.
Yeah.
And ending with nobody happy is such a great thing that you don't see enough. There's
I think
always
Denise Crosby's happy.
Do you think she's happy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Darling. Shing. That's awesome.
Her eye fucking just leaking shit.
Like, I literally remember that from my childhood. Like super a lot a much or like whatever. That was one of my like 3 memories, one of which was not from this movie at all.
Okay.
Where it was like, wow, because that made such this like impact on me where she's back and I think you hear her say darling right as or right before you see her face or like whatever. So like part of you is like, oh, maybe she is okay. Oh no, she's totally not okay.
She's so much not okay.
And then you're like, oh, he's like making out with her. Maybe this is okay. No, it's not okay, right? And all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's like this awesome little journey where my young mind was like so confused and like, what is happening here or whatever.
The neighbor, I'm gonna say, in like 2 things. He's like my favorite character in the movie.
Fred Gwynn.
My favorite character in the movie is the neighbor.
Yep.
And I really like how he delivers his lines, he draws them out and how he says and takes his breaths. Like he's really good. He's great in this role. But
acting.
as he is written, he is the worst character in the movie.
Explain this.
So
I
think he is delivered beautifully. Like I said, I think he has acted well. The actor, great.
Yeah.
The character, I think, is bad because the character he doesn't have any. He doesn't have linear progression. He jumps around so dramatically. Where he knows full right that this is a horrible thing. Period.
Exactly.
In the beginning, he's telling the daughter how death is natural. Then he goes, "Your daughter couldn't take it. It's not like, oh, I got to bring her back." So I'm like, already he's gone against what I believe his character would do from his prior statements, which is like already weird. But that's just the first 10% of his fucking character's dialogue and
completely.
And then he goes on this whole rant and wild road with like.
No, like
how things progress.
So like I feel like
tells you how he's a murderer.
Yeah, So like number one, all those like accent things or whatever, because like South Park and different shows have like parodied this character. Oh, I don't want to go down that road there. Yeah, and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is it. This is the original rarefied source material for all this parody. But yeah, like as it unfolds, as you understand more about this character's history and his actions, like if our channel were like Cinema Sins and I had to go through this movie and be like, why would he do that? He knows this. Why would he do this?
That's what
is
I mean.
Like there are so many things. Like why even bring back the cat? His own dog came back this like bloody terror monster.
Every step of it as it gets revealed, you realize, are you a sick bastard?
Exactly.
Why are you doing any of this?
Because then after that, right, like you said, like they had to go murder several people because they tried it with a human. But he's like, don't you think about doing that with your boy and all that stuff, and then choose like it's a whole thing.
Also, like with the one that came back in the flashback, the man they brought back from the dead, he just seemed like he was a bit slow and not understanding how things work and this and that.
He was like a weird zombie.
The other ones came back immediate murder mode.
Yes,
and that's weird too because. The one that died, he was a soldier, so you'd think if anyone would come back murder mode, it would be the soldier.
Yeah.
This is like a 3-year-old boy who just comes back, he immediately goes for the bag, gets a knife, and starts going at it.
Yeah.
When he cuts the old man's tendon, though.
Love it.
That I was like, oh my god, because he cut through it like butter. Yeah. And I understand it's a surgical scalpel. It is pretty fucking strong.
How deep it goes in, and then Fred Gwynn, how he plays it. I love that scene to me. Like that's on my top 3 good things. Okay. Where I'm like this scene, and then how like he like cuts the mouth open and all that stuff. The effects, like I don't know whether we could say they like hold up or not, but
they were not terrible.
Totally effective for me. The scene made me go like, what, like more so than other scenes where people's like intestines fall out or whatever. This subtle little thing where you can. I was like, like you can like feel the
those
like,
are
the, like
particular
leg fucking up. Yes.
Anytime an Achilles tendon gets it, I actually cringe. I'm like, oh, yep.
And he crumples like, oh no, and all that stuff, and then can't. Yeah, it's so
because he felt his tendon shoot up his leg.
like roll up like a curtain and just go.
Yeah, and even the face shot you felt too, because it's well, this is not a kill shot, but it's just a super painful, like, oh, so real.
Yeah. And it like disarms enough where then the kid goes in for like the kill and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it wasn't this thing, because like think about that scene in like less of an active person's, right? He gets like cut open or something, or he just gets stabbed and then for some reason falls down. Like, how would you play that off or whatever? But this was such a great, and like him and the cat work together. There's a scene really early on before you even see like the boy in like his full glory, where the boy is coming through the door and then like the cat walks through the door too. And I'm like, oh, everything that was reanimated like hangs out. I like that a lot. It's an awesome concept. The ground is sour and it's like what's going on here? Are there demons in them now that know each other? Like, this is an awesome, like, ooh, like, I like that.
The thing I don't like though is that he went into this with more knowledge than anybody. So like when there's a noise and a ball and things happening upstairs, he should have just like got out of the house, because he had enough wherewithal to pull the knife out. He knew that this was an issue that he'd have to deal with. I think he should have confronted the father like right then, like, he's not your boy. Listen, English, he's coming for you.
I wrote that down too. What does he say? Like, got something for you? Or he says some line. I was like, oh, it's perfect when he pulls out the knife. Oh man.
Yeah, and I really like that character. I don't think, or like the guy rather. The character, he just kept doing things where I'm like, God, man, you're the only one that knows this is bad. Why are you doing this? And as the dad, the first time with like, I got my cat in a bag. All right, come with me, boy. We're gonna bury let me show you this place. They walk for miles. I'd be like, where are we going? And like the idea that he asked no questions is so strange. It's
like
it's just,
I was gonna say, like, the Fred Gwynn is like the worst example, but I think, and I don't know if it's a horror movie thing or a Stephen King thing or like what is it exactly, but so much of this, like, if I wanted to pick things apart, I could go endlessly, right?
Yes.
Every character, like you know, the in-laws, the mom, the dad, the kids, everyone is doing things where you're like, why are we doing these things? What's happening here?
Like
why are you reacting?
Like the father-in-law punching him in the face and knocking over the casket at the boy's funeral.
That had a lot of impact on me too. That was crazy.
And I could see it being upset. Yeah. And I guess your daughter is your daughter, so you naturally like her more.
And they're like, we never liked you or something like that. I'm like,
but
okay.
Jesus Christ. And just letting that boy how he let that boy die, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Can we talk about the boy's death?
Sure.
So like, first of all, again, like, if I had to pick, we might have to pick this all apart. I don't know. People have probably already picked everything apart, but so much of this movie, like, even though I liked it and it's like fun and nostalgic and all that stuff, so much of it like makes no sense that I just chalk it up to like Stephen King like things or whatever, right? Because like you had to set up a place where a lot of pets die. And pets get run over, so that makes sense, right? So we have this weird town through which trucks must pass for whatever reason. It's the only major road in like a certain region or something, whatever, right? But the trucks go like so fast to the point where like animals would just be like flattened, like horrible, like things that there's like
exploded.
Nothing, and like the kid would just be an explosion of like body parts, right? And not only that, but the truck like crashes. You see the truck like upside down, like smoking or something like that. And I'm like, what happened? The truck driver may not even have noticed that he killed this kid. He's going like 60 or whatever miles per hour and plows into this like tiny boy.
Well, he saw him and he braked hard, and that's why he flipped.
I don't know. Do trucks do that?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh God, yes. If you're going 80 something miles an hour with a truck and you slam on your brakes, that momentum's taking you down.
Because they don't
think
show
about when you brake hard on a car, how you fishtail a little bit. If you move a little bit with a fucking 18-wheeler,
I understand. Like,
so he hit that boy directly in the face with his bumper, going at least 30 miles an hour.
Oh, fast, yes.
Well, no, I'm saying if he was at the very end of that brake before he flipped.
Sure.
That boy, is an explosion.
There should not be enough. So like
to be a full body that could be reanimated. Yeah,
their inability to show the car flipping and doing its thing, I think hurt me, because I did not make that leap. I was just like, wait, the kid should be a stain. Wait, the truck is destroyed? Like, what the fuck? Well, what is this kid made out of? Depleted uranium? What is going on?
So Your take was that he hit this little boy and it stopped him dead and he flipped and died?
Yeah, like Luke Cage. No, I thought obviously what you're talking about, like the thing happened, but because it just cuts to like a bloody shoe and the truck's fucking like on its back.
Shoe off, you're dead.
What
That's
happened?
the rule.
I know, right? You need both shoes or else you're dead. She loses a shoe too, the mom. It's pretty weird. Okay, so to me, I feel like because the dad was a doctor, we could have done something better than grave robbing an embalmed body and like trying to reanimate that.
Yeah.
He could have been like building the boy, back into like something, and then it could have been even weirder when he came back and had more gross to him or something like that.
I never read the book, so it's possible that there's more details in the book than there are,
right.
that they couldn't just practically do in the.
Yeah, no, but something could have like fallen off the truck, or something could have happened to like kill the boy some other way, or we could have just had like a different reason why pets die a lot in this town or something. It's such a weird choice to make it things that would make things that you couldn't bring back because they're plowing through them and destroying them completely physically. So like, but to me that's like, it's a Stephen King thing, because he's just like, I need to play like. There was probably some town where there was a major road that a bunch of animals died on.
Maybe
and
even his
there
town.
Was, it was like in New England somewhere, right?
It didn't irk me as much as it did you. I do agree that his head, like he had like one little scar over his eye or something, and I think he would be imploded or flattened. But I took it more as the magic of the burial site brings you back.
Yeah, you just pour whatever was left of the boy into the burial site, and he gets put back together.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to go anywhere with it, but that's a thing where I'd be like, maybe change some of this around and make it make sense and all that stuff.
Nah. The wife coming back, how she did, that threw me more than the son, because I was like, what did he do that made her eye jelly go?
I don't think you saw the eye look like that. You didn't really see her face, which I think was like the saving thing there. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I thought he did other stuff to her. I like how they cut away when stuff's happening to her, though. Because like I'm saying,
you
like
think it'd be too dramatic for you?
No, I'm like complaining about not being able to show certain things, but that was effective to me because they just have the off-camera scream, and you have the kid. It's terrifying for a kid, like, come play with me, and then he has like a knife, he was doing stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta kick that stuff in the face.
Yeah, that stuff all like works.
And that kid was like the perfect size where he's so creepy. He's like he's such a little boy.
Yes.
Ugh, and his face is a menacing face.
Yeah, like, I was shocked when he came back and was talking and stuff, because I was like, he's a kid, child actors are child actors, is this really gonna work? Because his stuff before he dies is like, kid, like, please. Or like whatever, is a weird kid. But yeah, I thought it like totally worked afterwards and all that stuff. When he says no fair and all that stuff, when he gets injected with all those things.
Was his name Cage or Gage?
I don't know.
I think it was Cage.
Yeah, I don't have subtitles on these things that we watch.
I saw it written only once on his grave.
Oh, yeah, it's on his grave.
And
we still don't.
It was in a font that I was like, is that a C or a G? I don't know.
That reminds me, though, the grave thing, when like the cop car comes and shines the light over everything but doesn't notice the
What the hell was that? What was he there for?
I don't know. There's a lot of things like that, but again, it's like, this is in the book somewhere or something like that. But when I saw that image, it like brought back a memory for me. It like triggered something, because I've seen this movie, obviously. Something about that scene stood out to me as a kid too or something. I don't know if it was like, oh no, don't get caught, don't not be able to grave rob your son's grave, or whatever.
Yeah. Ugh.
But there's a lot of Stephen King-y, so like again, like
why did he have a little top hat at one point?
I don't know. What, the kid?
Yeah.
When he was brought back. Oh yeah, he came in and was playing dressed up, like a top hat and a cane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just completely was like, well, that
didn't
happen.
Mr. Peanut for a minute.
Don't remember that. That'll hurt your brain. Don't store that memory. There's a lot of Stephen King-y weirdness in this. The jogger, right? And like the girl having like dreams, and I'm like, is she psychic? And that's like, okay, no, like the ghost is talking to her. But
I actually loved that.
But she went like thousands of miles away, and the ghost could still talk to her when he only has a bond with the dad. And like, what's going on?
I think he's just trying his best to help this family, and it didn't work, obviously. Right. But I thought that was a cool run through where like it's like, okay, this guy that like you tried to save has like pity on you and is trying to save you, and like he still looks the same, and he's around, he's on the plane with the wife, he's influencing decisions and helping.
That was an awesome sequence. I will definitely give you that. But it's like plot wise, it feels like a weird Stephen King-y thing to have. We have to have, because like not only are we reanimating.
Well, the daughter had The Shining.
That's what I mean. It's like literally, oh, we have a kid that's like, I know things I shouldn't know, and there's a reason that's supernatural, but not the same supernatural of like the main event. It's like its own supernatural thing. So there's ghosts, and the Pet Sematary brings people back. So what if you put his body in the Pet Sematary? Would he be there as a ghost and there as a zombie, but they're not the same? Like, there's too many things in this movie.
What was his name? Kavlo?
Oh, like Petrowski or something? I have no idea.
Some Russian name. I forget.
Yeah, Kazalov.
But
I wrote it down.
I thought his character was very cool, and he's like the iconic one. I think he's on the cover. Like,
I liked his performance, definitely. Everything about it was okay, but it definitely was like, oh yeah, I'm watching a Stephen King movie. We have to have a kid crying. Oh, I saw like a vision of something that's happening, and then we cut back to the thing that's happening. We know is happening.
Did you like Stephen King's cameo?
I did.
I thought he was good, and he did. It was a little bit almost more than a cameo. Where I'm like, he had a couple of lines, he delivered them well.
Yeah, he's like eulogizing or something. Yeah. Was that at the funeral though for the woman that we have no reason why she's in the movie?
Yes.
Okay. And
why like the neighbor was there, like she was a friend of everybody's or something.
Okay. I thought that might be his wife for a minute, or something. Or his daughter, right? Because I was like, why else would she be in the movie? But then the characters just kept going, so I was like, okay, brace yourself for embarrassment. Come to this, ask you, what did I miss? Why did this woman with stomach pains kill herself? And then have like a funeral in the middle of this movie where like she doesn't get reanimated, she doesn't exposit anything before her death.
No,
what's happening?
I don't know. And
so weird.
I thought it was going to be that she commits suicide in their house.
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to happen either. I was like, where is she right now?
And she's not a ghost.
Like undefined basement.
She's not revived.
She didn't accept.
Nothing
she
happens.
could have fixed her stomach. And she was like, no, I'll be fine. Dead. I was like, all right. That's a little bit of a weird twist. It could have been shaved out of there.
Something had to have been cut. And like,
well, they cut his nuts.
No, something had to have been cut.
You get it? It's a callback.
I understand that. But something like, why would you leave in all those scenes with that woman and then like not have anything in it that makes sense or matters for the plot?
I don't know. I feel like there must have been something else that's either in the book or on the editing room floor there with that character that we just didn't get a chance to enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like there's a problem with some of that stuff. Is padding the running time? I don't know.
And sometimes things are like that. I didn't dislike the scenes she was in, so like
yeah,
I wasn't mad they were in there, and like I didn't feel like the movie felt super long either. So I'm not like, oh man, they should have just been cutting and cutting here.
No.
Because what was this, an hour and a half maybe?
This was like an hour and a half. It's like a tight whatever. But when there's stuff in a movie that doesn't have any reason to be there, it's very like so some stuff has no reason to be there physically.
Well, I think sometimes it's also to throw you off.
Well, I guess.
And I don't know that this was that at all, actually.
I don't know what this was.
That's in some movies, like there's like, oh, that's a misnomer. You think this is gonna? No, this was.
Yeah, it just struck me as so weird, and I was like, I've probably missed something. So let's come here today and let you tell me what I've missed, and I didn't miss anything.
I thought they were gonna lean heavier into loss, and this would be a teaching experience for the daughter, and then the cat would, but it wasn't that either.
Well, I guess they do that. That's probably why it's there, just so they can have that conversation. Is she in heaven? All that stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary for a movie.
That's
the thing.
Vital.
I wonder how much control Stephen King has over these. And
I don't think any.
No?
I don't believe so.
Interesting. Well, I know famously for The Shining he had none, but I don't know if some of the other ones.
Well, until the second Shining that he made by himself.
And that's you see the difference
I
between
think,
the movies.
Yeah, I think he's had historic problems with a lot of his adaptations to film.
Since he's in this one, I figured maybe this is like a different scenario.
I think he has cameos in a couple.
He has a different amount of whatever.
I don't know. I didn't actually look anything up about it. Because I in general just enjoy Pet Sematary.
The other thing, unless you had something else to say
ahead.
just now, Zelda.
Okay.
Zelda brought back all these memories for me.
What kind of memories?
So I remember that super scaring me as like a kid, like medical stuff and like weird family gross like sickness whatever stuff was like very scary compared to like monsters or like whatever. But luckily, so like when
that spine thing they show it.
When they hinted at it, I was like, oh no, that's right. Oh no. And like, because watching this, I'm like, okay, none of this is going to actually like scare me. I've seen this like a million years ago.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, but like I was like, okay, I don't have to be like ready to not be scared at something. But when she mentions her sister Zelda, and then I was like, oh, there's going to be flashbacks. Oh, that scared me when I was a kid. Oh no, I'm going to get scared by this. And luckily, like, it isn't as scary with the makeup effect and like the stuff as I like remember it. So I was like fine with it. But this is this whole like, oh no, that, oh god, and like
it's certainly an uncomfortable moment. I don't know if it's scary any longer, but definitely like
no,
unfortunate and creepy and like
the thing that scared me when I was a kid is still there. I've just grown out of being scared by that. It's definitely like, what is this? Yeah. Like, why is that even, like, not why is that in the movie, but, like, in the middle of a movie about this stuff, right, we're touching on this, and I loved the whole, like, Zelda's dead, but I wasn't crying, I was laughing, or whatever, and I'm like, oh, we're, like, getting so close to exploring themes again.
That was what was almost more uncomfortable than the visuals, was the mother actually just telling that story, where you're like, God, you're going a little hard on this, like, who are you selling?
Like, no, and like I always think now, because some other people like called it out on the internet a while ago, in like Gremlins, when the chick tells the story about her dad breaking his neck in the chimney and all that stuff. Like whenever something like this happens in like a movie now, where it's like, okay, there's a break in the action, I have to tell this horrible story or whatever. And it's like, why are you telling this horrible story? Okay, it must be relevant somehow. The movie's over. I don't know. I guess. Yeah. But no, like the Zelda thing came back as like a callback, but it didn't make sense that it did, because she saw her sister again in the room where like the kid is though. But I don't know what that was meant to be or how that plays into it. Or
how I took everything and is that like, you know, it's not that they're coming back wrong. They're coming back like, you know, a demon is riding that body back. Yeah. And you know, the demon's just playing off your like, you know, your fears and this and that and whatever. And that,
so the demon may have powers, like like when it
knows what scares you and is using that.
Interesting. That's a big Stephen King thing too, right? It appears to you as whatever you most fear. And all that business. Yeah, that happens too with the dad when he first comes into the neighbor's house and everything's like rotten and stuff like that. Yeah. But then he like snaps out of it and it's gone. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, the demons are terraforming this house into their new place or whatever. Yeah. I would love a thing where, like, then she brings his dead body to the cemetery, and they're just this undead couple or whatever forever. I would like something like that.
I wonder how that works. Could the demon just keep killing things and make an army and then just take over the world?
That's what I thought the, like, thing was or whatever.
I like that.
But there's a lot of great stuff. I love the quotes and, like, the head-bashed guy is like, a man's heart is stonier, and all the soil of a man's heart is stonier. I was like, oh. And then Fred Gwynn says it later, and then it comes back again, and this like, you know, it comes into play again, and all that stuff. I dig things like that.
So, what were your final thoughts on this movie?
I think I liked it. Like, I don't have any problem. Like, even though I'm picking apart like a ton of things, I feel like this is not the kind of movie that hinges on those things. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't have a big script doctor thing for this movie like I have for most things. I think it's just solid all the way through.
Like, I think that I would change those things if I could, but I don't think that it like dramatically changes the impact of the film.
What I mean is usually we watch a movie and I'm like, well, instead of this guy doing that, blah blah, I would have done this and I would have said it there, and that would like I don't really have that for this. There's maybe some things I could have trimmed, or I think more likely I would want a little bit more with them, not to trim them, to make them make sense and hash them back around. Yeah. But my thoughts on the movie is it's good. It holds up. It's for an old horror movie. You know, they don't always have that same carryover, and I do think it's still creepy. The effects are fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a horrible head, a big like floating head at one point, but that was the only moment where I was. But like that's nothing compared to like, you know, especially like a movie like a horror or something that's supposed to have weird stuff in it. It does not fall down because of that. Scripting wise, I would make it matter more that he was a doctor, I think. Or do certain things. Like, there's definitely room for improvement here, but again, like, not in the same way where, like, you watch a movie and it frustrates you and you're like, if only they'd fixed this. I wanted to like this, but you ruined it. It isn't like that. It's just like Stephen King.
What would matter more to you about being a doctor?
Well, they made him a doctor, right? Because we had to have various, like, things happen.
Well, he had to meet the boy in the beginning. He had to have the scalpel. And
it didn't need, but, like, it didn't need to be any of those things.
I guess it could have been a knife from the kitchen.
It could have been a knife from the kitchen.
Been a bystander trying to help.
And he could have, like anything could have happened, right? Whereas, like, like he even uses syringes at one point, and he gives his wife a Valium at one point. But even those things, like, those are instances of him being a doctor, but it doesn't really matter whether he's a doctor or not. He uses these syringes in the same way you would use a knife. He's like point blank range, pressing it into the person until they stop or something like that. So, like, you know, again, like, like I feel like you had like an angle, like a potential terrifying, horrifying thing of him, and you wouldn't have had to show much just of him trying to like build his boy back together.
Hey,
or
you're
something
big on
like
that Frankenstein aspect.
Something about that resonates with me more because like the whole time he's like grave robbing. I'm like, you're grave robbing? He's been embalmed. Like, what are you expecting? His stuff's not working right. What is this magic doing exactly? Like, this is definitely not going to work. What are you hoping for here, man? And he's like, I waited too long. I'm like, yeah, you waited until he'd been like processed and like shipped to like a building and left out for days. Like, that doesn't work. And then then we could have avoided the grave robbing scene and the other like several other scenes. It would have like cleaned up where now he's doing his own, like lying to his family. They have to go away. He intercepts the body and like doesn't deliver it or some weird thing, right? And he does something, or he has it, or the thing in the morgue because he's a doctor, right? Like there's no characters in the hospital that he talks to and confides it about his problems with his home life, or like there's no angle there. It's just happening or whatever.
I guess I don't know that I'm with you for a Frankenstein thing, but I could see getting it before the trying to get the body before things happen and doing this and that to it. I could see that happening. I would be with you on that. What would you rate this?
No, that's a deal breaker. This is like a 7 out of 10. This is good for me. I like this.
Yeah, I stand by a 7. I'll give it a 7.2.
Don't fuck with me. What are you talking about?
Just gotta edge you out a little bit.
7.17.
Yeah.
No, this is like a solid, like so much about this was good, and I could say, oh, you're just nostalgic, and it's like, I forgot most of the movie. I
haven't seen this since I was like,
yeah,
I don't know, 8?
I thought Clancy Brown was in it. I forgot most of this. Yeah, I watched it when I was like too young, apparently, to watch it, because
we watched this in school.
Oh, so it's like did you read the book and watch it, or like supposed
to
read the book?
No.
Okay.
This was in like when they first give you those like when you start switching classes and you go to like a thing. We had a teacher. His name was Mr. Manzo.
Mr. Fuck Up the Kids.
And he just sets us up, and we watched it over the course of like three class periods at the end of the year.
Okay.
And
end of the year when you're like
like when it's not really school anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember watching this in school, and I think that was the first time I saw it.
Nice.
I think so.
No, yeah, I might have caught this on cable or something as a kid. Like, this is one I've probably seen pieces of it more than once, or I was aware of it or something like that. And it was probably so young that, yeah, it like scared me. And they were like, oh no, he's getting too old to watch anything. I have to care about what he watches or something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a pass.
We're good. Totally.
All right, guys, so that's our thoughts on Pet Sematary. Let us know in those comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Was the original show.